Yo, what's going on, everybody? UltimatDjz here from the Teaching Trek YouTube channel here with your Arc launch video for the month of May 2023. Legacy Part 2 has come to a close. With it, the Picard series, and with it, now coming the brand new launch of a new, highly anticipated IP. I've seen a lot of memes floating around over the last day or two. A lot of people had their suspicions about this particular IP. And now you have the actual confirmation that, yes, indeed, Captain Catherine Janeway of the USS Voyager is making her way into the game, or at least presumably so, her cast and crew of the USS Voyager. This is Voyager Part 1. Now, are we getting a ship this month? No, we're not, so don't panic on yet another ship. Nor are we actually getting Captain Catherine Janeway herself. As usual, let's dive into officers first this month. We are beginning with our epic officer. That would be the Doctor. Yes, the Doctor is making his way in. Now, there was a hint, and I saw a lot of people speculating about this, about, command officers being red and hue being blue, and what would we do if we had two? Well, let me explain that hint a little bit. It was definitely some subterfuge because we were making a play off of the ECH, the Emergency Command Hologram. The Doctor is making his way into the game as an epic officer, but he is a below-deck officer, meaning that there is, in fact, no captain's maneuver. His officer ability is when taking damage from a PvE hostile, whether it's an Armada or a red hostile, he will increase mitigation by a percentage of health for 2 rounds. That's his officer ability. But this is why I told people that I was so very excited about this particular officer, not only because of just the character and the Doctor being one of the most interesting characters in all of Star Trek Voyager, but his below-deck ability does not appear to really disappoint this month. Now, I haven't seen the math as he scales up, but what he does do is just like 5 of 11, another Borg that we've always wanted a second one of, exactly the way that I have wanted him to present, which is as a below-deck officer for loot gain. All resources gained from PvE hostiles. That would be reputation. That would be the loot. That would be I said reputation, Armada credits, anything that 5 of 11 boosts. The Doctor will now boost with a below-deck percentage, meaning that he is now actually capable of stacking on top of 5 of 11. That is very, very exciting to me. He is this month's epic and will be available through solo leaderboards for material spend on various weekends throughout the month. Our next officer is Rare Bellana Torres. She also is a below-deck officer, no captain's maneuver. Her officer ability is to increase piercing for 1 round by a percentage of attack. All right, by a percentage of attack. But again, not exactly sure that this is a bridge officer ability as much as it would be a below-deck ability, which is now becoming very, very interesting because her below-deck ability is a percentage chance of inspiring hull breach to a non-player target, but for only a single round. In both of these cases, for both of these officers, any hostile is defined as a non-player, meaning that she will actually function against armadas, reds, even, in theory, gold hostiles, all right? But she, again, is a below-deck officer with a percentage chance of proccing hull breach, but for only a single round against a non-player hostile. All right, so those are the 2 officers that we got coming this month. What else is coming with Voyager? We don't have a ship, so what exactly is it that we can look forward to? Well, there is a new region of space coming. It is the Delta Quadrant, and if you can take a look at that image there, it's not the prettiest or the most high-resolution image, but this is what we're working with here. Yes, the Delta Quadrant is going to be opened up in our map, and then if you take a look at kind of where we are sitting here as far as the entire region of space that we've got, down here is explored space, and when we head all the way up here to the top right-hand quadrant, we are going to see the Delta Quadrant. This is the route of the USS Voyager, and this is how you're going to be able to get there in space. What you're going to find up there are new hostiles. You're going to, hit the wrong button. You're going to find new hostiles. You're going to find new targets. You're going to find new armada targets, all kinds of stuff that are going to contribute to some of the features that are coming this month. So we're going to talk about formation armadas. Yep, it starts with an F. So yeah, I threw you off. It should have started with a V, would have been a Voyager. It starts with an F. Formation armadas, yet another armada target making its way into the game. And if the for example, the Borg expansion cubes didn't seem complicated enough by having to coordinate with your team as far as doing a Borg solo armada first and then coming up to do the expansion cube, then you may not be a huge fan of this particular mechanic. Formation armadas are multi-target armadas, basically being 3 armada targets that have to be killed simultaneously by your team or other alliances in cooperation with you. These targets are going to show up in the new Delta Quadrant space, and you're going to see the way that these things work. Basically, there's going to be 3 nodes to a singular armada. One person will start it, and then other people can start the other nodes of that same quote-unquote formation armada, but the timers will sync up to the lead start of the armada. So, for example, if player A in Alliance A starts one, then player B in Alliance A starts the second one, the timer is going to actually sync up to the first player's start as long as it's a part of that same node. So you'll have to be really careful and pay attention to what the timers are for the lead player, because you may or may not have enough time to actually get there on the second one if you're starting late. Can the second and third nodes be started by a different alliance? Yes, indeed they can. And once you kill these targets, everybody's going to get the rewards. But this so far is the closest thing we've had to quote-unquote a raid boss, if you will, where multiple alliances can actually work together to kill the overall larger target and get paid the rewards that are going to come from those things. And we'll talk about those rewards and what they're going to source coming up here in just a few moments. But as far as the formation armada goes, they are going to be 3 different nodes. They are going to take a new directive, formation directives, and these basic armadas are going to be more challenging than it is than we're used to as far as FKR armadas in the game. They can be from different alliances, as mentioned before, and everybody should end up getting paid. Individual nodes are going to give out the traditional leader's chest and the Happy Meal and even the standard armada targets. But if you are successful in completing all 3 nodes on the same pass with the same timer, that would be with your own team or any other team, but defeating all 3 are going to give a bonus mega chest, which will include some premium rewards and some direct rewards for this month's feature that we're going to talk about coming up here in just a little bit. So not only are you going to get the rewards from killing the individual node, but if you are successful in defeating all 3 nodes of this formation armada, you'll get extra rewards, a higher value set of rewards by killing the entire target. This month, there will only be uncommon targets, 6 different levels of them, and these directives will be sourced free to play through your daily goals. 14 directives each day in the final chest at the top of your dailies, basically giving you 1 free run per week for all players. You obviously will be able to acquire extra directives for a cost if you so choose, but the directives themselves will be sourced free to play every single week throughout your dailies. Once you complete those, then you will be amassing those and enough for your team to run several of these every single week. The respawn timers will be very, very short, and the system will not actually allow you to start one of these unless all 3 nodes are present. What happens if 2 of the nodes get destroyed and 1 of them were to fail? Well, the teams that destroyed their nodes will get the individual rewards, but that big mega chest that you would have gotten for destroying all 3, well, that's not going to come. And then the formation armada is going to have to respawn itself, because it won't let you actually start an armada against one of these if all 3 nodes are not present. So If one of you fail, then that armada is scratched. You won't get the mega chest rewards, and you won't have an opportunity to restart it until it has refreshed itself. That respawn timer is relatively short, we're being told, and once all 3 nodes have respawned, then you'll have an opportunity to try it again, but the armada will be completely healed. What is that armada going to look like? Well, they're modeling it after species 8472. If you can see that on my screen here. Yeah, it's not great images here. Species 8472 is going to give you that formation armada. Let me see if I can actually find... here we go. This is what one may look like right there, a formation armada with the multiple nodes. These have been kind of designed and styled after the Species 8472 bio ship. And you're going to find these, again, throughout the new Delta Quadrant space, with the higher targets being deeper. Now, we were talking earlier, and you read in the episode description, that these targets are going to be possible for players all the way down through Ops 26 to play as far as warp range, and that is true. Ops 26 Plus will have an opportunity to get in on these and participate with the rest of your team based on the warp range. It's not a traditional armada, though, and has absolutely nothing to do with your Alliance Control Center, meaning that you don't have to be a certain level to start any one of these, and you can't bring 6 or 7 players. As a matter of fact, it's going to be limited to you plus 3. That's right, only 4 players per armada are going to be able to play, and when I say per armada, I mean 4 players per node, and then there's 3 different nodes. But again, remember, one set of directives is not enough. Player A is going to have to spend directives for node A, player B will have to spend directives for node B, and player C will have to spend directives for node C. And then if all 3 of those get started, they will all then sync back to the timer from the first one that was started. A little bit confusing, but we will get through it. So what are these armadas paying? Well, these armadas are paying artifact rewards. That's right. We are going to get artifacts this month. We've talked about it. As a matter of fact, even a brand new building. Artifact Hall will make its way into the game over here on the far right-hand side of your station base. And the artifact gallery, or Artifact Hall, is going to be the place where you're going to kind of manage your artifacts. These artifacts are going to be treated very much like research and give significant buffs. And when we say significant, it seems as though Scopely may have actually finally kind of heard the calls that we've been making regarding diminishing returns and whether or not buffs are actually going to start to provide some tangible benefit. We're being told that some of these artifacts would be able to provide up to a 25% net effect on the game when they are fully maxed. Now, that's the key. Fully maxed might take for freaking ever, and we'll have to explore the timeline of this particular feature as we dive into it and go through. But as I had mentioned kind of before, today I feel like this is an extremely long-term feature, and I'll explain what I mean by that here in just a little bit. These artifacts are going to take shards. It's going to take a while to unlock them, but then there's also multiple levels of these artifacts that each will take shards. So when you're earning shards for these things, you're going to be using them over a very long period of time. And there's multiple artifacts. And so when you're earning shards, you could be earning shards of this artifact, and then some shards of that artifact, and then other shards of this artifact. And it'll certainly be, think of it very much like an officer pool, where it's going to be very diverse and a lot of different buffs, and it's going to take a long time to amass the shards necessary to unlock and promote or tier up these artifacts. However, the shards are going to come directly from these Formation Armada targets, all right? So when we're talking about the shards, this is where they're coming from. You're going to collect shards for the artifacts, unlock the buff, collect more shards to promote or tier up the buff, and those shards are coming from these Formation Armada targets. Kind of directly in some cases, indirectly in others. For example, there's 2 different tokens that are coming in these Formation Armadas. The standard artifact tokens and then premium artifact tokens. The premium artifact tokens are going to be sourcing rare and epic artifact shards for some of the better buffs, and then the uncommon and artifact gallery building materials are going to come in the standard chest. All right, so where are these tokens coming from? Well, when you do a Formation Armada, again, we were talking about everybody getting the rewards. So the leader's chest is going to contain the premium tokens. The Happy Meal will include the standard tokens, and then everybody, upon completion of the full Armada, are going to get direct artifact shards in your mega chest. So if you were able to kill all 3 of these heads, then you're actually going to get a mega chest, which will come with direct artifact shards, not necessarily the tokens. However, both the standard and the premium tokens will have a refinery option as well to spend that currency and obtain more artifact shards that will come in a refinery. So what does that refinery kind of look like? Well, we don't have a perfect look at it yet, but we do see some of the artifacts that are actually going to be showing up here on your screen. And some of the stuff that you're going to be earning, this right here, artifact dust, if you will, is going to be earned in these tokens and then redeemed. So we've also been told that the artifacts are going to be the most difficult to actually unlock, requiring the most shards to unlock it, but then significantly stepping down. So, for example, just throwing numbers out, it could be 100 shards to unlock, and then maybe 15 shards to promote it to tier 2. Basically meaning that that first hump to get over is going to be the unlock, but tiering them up should be more simple as time goes on. What else are you going to find in this new Delta Quadrant? You're going to find Herogen Hunters, new hostels, and again, the imagery not that fantastic here. You're going to see new hostels, including new lost hostels as well. As a matter of fact, the Caretaker didn't only bring Voyager into the Delta Quadrant, it brought species from all over the galaxy into the Delta Quadrant. So some of these lost hostels are going to be up there, and they could even be from species that we know, or it could be from species we've never heard of before. However, these particular hostels will be dropping rewards of various different value. That doesn't mean that the loot table's been changed. We're talking about the actual loot that the hostel is holding. As a matter of fact, the Herogen Hunters are actually holding even more of it. Now, whatever that is, Scopely has been very, very interestingly quiet on what these hostels are actually holding. We have no idea yet what they are holding, but we shall soon find out. These are victims of the Caretaker, and they will launch with hostels level 25 through 60 with the same difficulty as typical hostels in the game, but these Herogen Hunters are going to be harder than normal. Still level 25 through 60, but kind of like what they had hoped to do with the freebooters. These are supposed to hit even harder, and they are allegedly going to have better loot drops from whatever is actually going to be dropped from these hostels. As far as events this month, we're going to see the solo armadas. We are going to see the material spends for the Doctor. We're going to see some sort of meta for B'Elanna Torres. But this particular arc has almost been broken down into like 3 different weeks, engaging with the Delta Quadrant and then researching some information about the Delta Quadrant and assisting the Federation in getting the Voyager back home. We're going to see several different themes or several different meta style series of events this month that all are kind of related back to the theme of trying to get Voyager home, and we're going to be able to explore some of that, including some puzzles and things like that that will be coming along this particular month. We've got a couple of new projectiles that are coming into the game. As a matter of fact, this one, Projectile 8472's Energy Beam. This buff that will come with this particular projectile is good for all armadas, including the new Formation armadas and solo armada targets, and it'll come with a 20% buff to piercing. It's available at Ops 25 Plus and will be available through a premium purchase only this month. Also interesting for some players, there will be a new X-Borg Credit Efficiency Prime that is coming out, a 50% boost to efficiency on the X-Borg credits spent, which I know some people are going to be excited about. Of course, last month they started with the pattern of Explorer damage. This month you're going to have Interceptor Prime that's coming out, and a Prime Defiant, a node or a prime research for the Defiant, although at this particular moment, not 1,000% sure what this one's going to do, so we're going to have to find out a little bit more later. Here is a glimpse of this lost token. This is some of the loot that is going to be dropped from these Herogen hunters. And again, not 1,000% sure what this is going to do, but of course it is a new currency, so I guess we'll figure it out together. Also, they haven't told me about this yet either. I don't know if this is an avatar or if this is going to be some type of currency used in the game, but it is of the beloved Delta Flyer. We'll look forward to seeing what that is going to do this month. Here again is another avatar of the Delta Flyer. So definitely the Delta Flyer being a piece of the plan this month, or at least the stage 1. Scopely being, again, somewhat kind of close to the vest with some of this stuff. So we will see how some of this stuff actually relays throughout the remaining arcs, as they've been kind of quiet on some of the larger plans. Are we getting the Voyager? Presumably we would, but I have no idea how that's going to present at this particular time. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that I haven't been as wildly helpful as typical, but this is what we have so far this month. And is it going to be an exciting month? Well, typically, Arc 1 of a series is usually the warm-up. It's explaining the story. It's trying to get us started and trying to get us involved in the storyline. So there might be stuff to explore, and I will tell you the series of events this month look very, very good, including a month-long meta. There will be a 20-day event this month, which I'm actually pretty excited about. I do like those particular styles and series of events, so we'll look forward to that this month. But as far as what we are seeing in the world of the Delta Quadrant, it could be a little bit lighter this month as we are exploring and kind of getting started. However, there will be plenty of events that are pushing us towards these new formation armada targets, and we're going to have to really, as a team, kind of come together and figure out the best, most efficient way to tackle these things and be able to take them down for the most payout as we begin to explore the artifact mechanic. My name is UltimatDjz, inviting you to leave your comments down below on Voyager Part 1. What do you think? Is it a sufficient introduction? And are you excited about a new below deck loot officer? This is what I've been screaming about for the last couple of weeks, and what I am prepared to invest everything I've got into is the brand new EMH Doctor, the epic officer this month. Pretty excited about that. As for the rest of Voyager, we will have to wait and see. My name is UltimatDjz, thanking you for watching this ArcFall video here for the month of May, Voyager Part 1 inside Star Trek Fleet Command. I am your friendly neighborhood cat person, inviting you to smash that subscribe button, press the like, click the bell so you know about more content when it does come, and leave your conversation, your questions, your feedback in the comment section below. We'll be sure to review that and respond as we can. I appreciate you guys all watching. I am your friendly neighborhood cat person saying meow for now. Love you, mean it. Catch ya on the next one. Happy ArcFall, everybody. Meow.